Hello everyone, we are Book 3 and in this video we would like to present our project title, Analyzing Customer Behavior Before Choosing Subscription Service. Throughout this project, we explore how customers behave before leaving a subscription service. By using interactive dashboard in Power BI, we were able to compare tuned and non-tuned users more effectively. Now, begin our presentation.
For the first part of presentation, we'll come to data processing. With the following requirement, first we will have to create a new variable based on existing data, like user frequency or spending trends. Then we will have to clean and prepare the data for analysis. For handling method, we will go through the following process. Firstly, we will have to import the CSV file or autocorrect and print it out to check, as well as the file size and the missing value. As we can see, we only have one row of missing value comparing to the Word file, which is 400,000 rows, so we can drop it out without causing no consequence to the analysis. For creating new variable like user frequency or spending trends, user frequency was available in the data frame, so we do not need to create it outside. For spending trend, it requires time-based information, however, that's not provided in the CSV file. So we will check into the difference between the customer's personal spending and the median value of total spend. This is the reason why we choose median value instead of mean. Or for the testing file, the variable of total spend is distributed quite evenly, and mean value and median value is not much different. However, for the training file, the variable of total spend is not distributed evenly. Additionally, median value cannot be affected easily by the outlier, so this time median is a safer choice. We'll add the new column to the data frame. Come to the second part of data analysis, we will have to analyze the behavior of customer. With the following requirement, we'll have to analyze the difference between two types of customer and then export the result into CSV file. For handling method, we will select the variables that show the behavior of the customer and handling them separately into qualitative and quantitative variables. The mention here are 0 stands for non-churn and 1 is for churn customer. For quantitative data, we will create a new data frame using the group by function, and then we will create a bar chart to analyze. This is the bar chart we create. As we can see, there's not much difference in tenure, user frequency, or last interaction between two types of customers. For the left variable, we can see that churn customers tend to have higher support calls count and total time of payment delay, as well as much lower spend. We will do the same for the qualitative variables and create a new data frame to compare and then a pie chart to analyze. However, there are not much important information on the pie chart, as we can see, because type of subscription and contract length are distributed evenly among churn customers.
The second phase of our project is visualization in Power BI. We go down to the part. The first one is install Power BI and import data. The second one is design the dashboard, and the last one is formatting and interactivity. Step 1, install Power BI and import data. Step 2 is design the dashboard. The first one is create a line chart. Second one is bar chart. Third one is slicer, and the last one is KPI card. The first line is the average of users' frequencies by last interaction. This is a slight fluctuation, and there are some mid downward trends approaching the turning point. The explanation of this is the user tends to gradually reduce their service usage frequency in the day leading up to churn, and is a clear early warning sign of churn, particularly when users drop significantly during the last 5 to 10 days before the churn event. This indicates that churn customers tend to reduce their interaction with the service before leaving. The next line of support calls by last interaction, there is an increase in support interaction, and that may reflect dissatisfaction or unresolved problem. So, in this line, there are small peaks in support calls before churn, suggesting that some user experience service issues and reach out for help before leaving. It is some payment delay by last interaction. There is an upward trend toward the churn rate, so that leads to weakening commitment to the service. Payment may serve as a key behavioral signal for potential churn. If the sum of spending changed by last interaction, so the line is relatively volatile with some upward movement before churn. In spending behavior, they could indicate uncertainty or experimentation with a service option behavior commonly associated with user preparing to churn. The second one is a bar chart. This is compare the average user frequency of churn and non-churn customer this leads to the lower as user frequency is associated with higher churn risk.
Our goal in this section is to create a KPI gap that shows the churn rate and allows filtering to readers by customers issues such as lender, subscription time, and contract length. In the progress, we have 4 steps. With step 1, calculating KPI churn rate. We first built a DAX measure to calculate the churn rate error percentage. The formula counts the number of churn customers divided by the total of customers, as that And then step 3, creating KPI cat. We select the cat feature from the Power BI toolbar. Then we drag our relate measure into the field pane of the cat. After that, we rename the display title by going to Format Control and change it to Relate for clarity. After that, step 3, creating slicer into future KPIs and season. To make the KPI more interactive, we add 3 slicers: gender, subscription type, and contribute. We drag the views from the data table into the slide vision. Lastly, we adjust the slide setting to allow for single or multiple sections based on user needs. And finally, step 4, roles to create KPI tags. The cell which relates tab allows entering by customer assessment. To link the KPI tags to all 3 slices: gender, subscription type, and contribute. That's the interaction to ensure they generate uplist dynamically based on sensitive filters. With this setup, we now have a dynamic KPI track. This not only displays the overall trend, but also allows to filter and analyze this by key customer sentiment. This helps stakeholders easily identify people are more likely to choose supporting better decision making.
So I will continue with how we apply the slide step by step and explain how they help us analyze behavior trend between student and return user more effectively. First, we apply including gender, subquestion, type, and contribute, and we do this by drawing the file from the data driven or user area. We adjust the selection type and selection type depending on what we want to focus on, and make the step 2 is integration setting. We configure how I slice integrate with the visual. Is it sure that when we apply the slide, it updates the related chain and table accordingly? And to step 3, step 3 is go. The slide inherits the power of the dashboard, and practically when comparing the chain between student and return user. Now I will show you what slices do. This is customer behavior and next the function, and you see this is license or job behavior card, and this is license. This is new change view and to label. This is the slicer do. The slices are setting included by setting sentiment, text sentiment, user sentiment, and last iterated. If I change the line chart by chart and KPI card will change depending on origin group.
Okay, moving to the next part of our presentation is French challenges. We will figure out another problem is the turn side objective. Okay, so here is an explanation of our analytical approach to the first one, the analysis target. The second one is factor influencing choice by input. The third one is the analysis methodology, and the final one is the choice signal classification. Okay, so let's move on to the first one is analysis target. So the analysis is based on choice customer data set and the non-choice customer data set, which it aims to identify the behavioral pattern tangle of the customer who really left the service, and then I will classify and fact the given non-choice customer table created by Power BI. Okay, so look at the second one. Here is a factor influencing choice likelihood. I have listed 6 factors because here it has contract name, subscription type, support code, payment delay, plus interaction, and TE. Okay. So let's start with the analysis methodology. I will divide them into 2 types of methods and data. The first one is the category data with contact names and subscription, and another one is the quantity data with the left one. Category data. So the method I use here is to compare the frequency of each category to churn and non-churn group. That's when we identify the behavior more common in the churn customer. So why I use this method for the category data? So the reason here is that the frequency analysis is suitable for the non-numeric data that cannot be averaged or calculated directly. And this approach quickly reveals which value are dominant within the each customer group, and it also well suited for the dashboard visualization. Okay, you can see here in the contract analysis. Look at the board, you can see that the customer using only contract account for high proportion of the churn user with a frequency of about 34% in while in contrast the amount of non-churn customers that in no customer user monthly contract. So this highlight a significantly higher tendency to churn among customers monthly, we do our plans compared to the longer term, like quarterly and annual. About the subscription type, you can see that the basic subscription plans appear monthly among the churn customer, about 33%. The non-churn customer, about 31%, as you can see. So it's something slightly higher churns tendency within the group. Okay, moving to our last analysis variable is TNU. As you can see that I have shown a graph with two type bar, with the green one is the non-churn and the red one is the churn. So as you can see, as a customer with the TNU and the sixth one have a high churn rate of 60%, such that they may not have yet developed enough trust in the service. So you can see that the churn rate steadily decline on the TNU increase, especially on the 25 months or more, indicating that longer TNU have equal retention as customers tend to have higher trust in the service. However, except the 13 and the 40 and the 24 TNU that show a high risk of churn more than 60%. So if they also show any quantitative warning signs that I have recommended before, they should be flagged off for potential risk. Okay, here is a line that summarize what I have said about the TNU. You can pause the video for clearly view. It shows that short or mid TNU customers are more vulnerable to the service. Moving to the last part of the sign detecting, I have the turn signal classification with the early sign in initial warning signals that indicate churn risk may develop in the near future. The second one is the main sign as a primary behavior or trigger that's very related to customer churn. And the final one is a sub-sign that's underlying indicator that may not directly cause churn on the arm, but can contribute to churn when combined with other signs that I have commented in before. This is simple data that I have made in the Power BI, as you can see. The yellow one is the sub-sign, the orange one is for the early sign, and the last one is for the mid sign. Okay, here's the analysis result that I have summarized here. So you can feel free to pause the video if you want. Group. And on the other hand, the standard and premium plans are more prevalent among the merchant customer and is indicating better customer retention performance. Okay. So let's move on to the next data type, the quantity data. As you can see, I will use two methods for two types of quantity data. With the first one for support calls, frame delay, and last interaction, I will calculate the average for churns and non-churn group and use this to identify value range that's maybe to the churn risk. On the other hand, for the TNU, I will build a distribution chart and evaluate the churn rate across different TNU range. Okay. So the reason why I had to divide into two types of methods, that's for support call, frame delay, and the last interaction. The first three variables are quantitative and have relative stable distribution and making them useful for mean comparison. The average provide a clear tendency and have to define natural zone and the behavior naturally cluster around technical value, and this mean is effective indicator for the pattern group. TNU, on the other hand, reflects stage of a customer life cycle stage, and rather than a particular metric with meaningful average. Therefore, the focus will be on the range-based distribution and this animal visual identification of risky areas in the customer journey. Okay, let's start with the first one, the stock code. As you can see on the box, the average is the churn, a 5 and another one is 2. It shows that the churns user base an average of 5 support call and considerably more than the non-churn customer. This suggests the frequent issue or the need for technical assistance may be very driver a churn behavior, and it's the typical 3 or 4 support or more may serve as an early warning sign of potential churn. And for the payment delay, you can see that the churn customer average 50 days delay, which is more than the non-churn customer delay is 10. This indicates that payment delay of 12 to 14 days or more could be a risk indicator for churn.
Now let's move on to a more advanced part of our analysis. What's the dive deeper into customer behavior and uncover insights that can directly drive retention strategies. Our goals here in two parts. First, to segment users based on how frequently they use our service. Second, to calculate the churn rate with each of these behavior segments. I will consider three steps. Step one, improve behaviors by user frequency. Step two, increase the measure of trend customer. And the final step is visualization of the results. To begin with, we categorize our users into four groups based on their usage frequency. Those who use the service 20 times or more point to the high usage group. Users with 10 to 19 users are placed in the medium usage group. So with 1 to 9 users are labeled large users. And finally, users who didn't use the service at all are considered inactive. This demonstration allows us to better understand variety engagement levels across our customer base. Next, we created a mirror to quantify input. For every usage channel, we calculate two main values: the number of users that book and the churn rate, that is the percentage of users who stop using our service. By doing this, we can compare churn behavior across different engagement levels. Once we define this measure, we move on to visualization. Using Power BI, we create a donor chart to display the churn rate for each usage group side by side. By looking at the chart, we can see the count of each usage channel, from which we can infer the churn rate by usage channel. Our churn rate is in gray below. Easy to identify which channel has to the highest churn rate. And more importantly, which ones user are median attention. So, this analyzing doesn't just tell us how many customers we are losing, but also which type of users are most likely to be lead. With the insight hand, we can design our targets. Behind our brains, we can take retention strategies. I'm sure that we focus on efforts where they're making the biggest impact.
This is the end of our presentation. If you have any question or discussion, feel free to ask us. So thank you for tuning.